Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. The question is asking here, what is the ruling on sharing a cow or a camel? We know that goats cannot be shared and ram cannot be shared, but what is the ruling on sharing a cow or a camel for udhiyah and qurbani and sacrifice? Now, the majority of the ulama, and when I say the majority, I say Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Shafi'i and Imam Ahmed have said a cow or a camel has 7 shares, and this is due to the statement of Jabir, and this has been recorded by Muslim in his Sahih. أمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نشترك في الإبل والبقر كل سبعة منا في بدنه. The Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم commanded us that every cow and camel has 7 shares. And also in other incidents during the Messenger of Allah ﷺ's life, there's a narration that happened in Hudaybiyah, there's a narration that happened during the final Hajj, and perhaps this is where Jabir is mentioning this also. There are other narrations from other companions as well, where they have said that there were 7 shares for camels and cows during the time of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. And this is the view of the majority. Except that Abu Hanifa has said you can only share with family members. You can only share with family members. So if you buy a cow and you want to make it into 7 shares, it can only be done within the family. However, what seems to be general is that it remains general. And what seems to be the correct opinion is that it remains general, that the cow and the camel has 7 shares due to the generality of the statement here of what Jabir said. And the Messenger of Allah ﷺ commanded us that camels and cows have 7 shares. And there's been no stipulation of setting a condition that it has to be done within family members. Imam Malik in his madhab said no. Cows and camels do not have 7 shares. If you want to sacrifice a camel, that is 1. If you want to sacrifice a cow, that is 1. And that is the same as a goat or a ram. But obviously, because it's more expensive and there is more meat, etc., you will be rewarded extra. But there are no shares. I'm just going to read here what Ibn Qudama says, rahimahullah, in Mughni, because he says it best, really. He says, يجوز أن يشترك في التضحية بالبدنة والبقرة السبعة. It is permissible for a person to have in cows and camels 7 shares. واجبا كان أو تطوعا. Now, if a person does, now this is important, we're going to talk about this in a second. If it is an obligatory sacrifice, maybe it's an expiation, or if it is optional, such as udhiyah and qurbani, all of this has 7 shares. So, aqiqah, it can be included in that 7 shares, according to the correct opinion. Udhiyah, because it is not wajib, according to the correct opinion, can be included in that 7 shares. But if it is something which is wajib, can it be included? As we're saying here, it is permissible. سواء كانوا كلهم متقربين, if they are family relatives or not. And this is now talking about what Abu Hanifa said. And this is, Ibn Qudama rahimahullah representing the Hanbali madhab. And this is the view of the Shafi'iyya. وقال مالك لا يجوز الاشتراك في الهدي. Malik is of the view that you can't have shares. If you sacrifice a cow, that is it. If you sacrifice a camel, that is 1 share. وقال Abu Hanifa يجوز للمتقربين. And it is permissible to have shares for family members amongst themselves. However, he then concludes and he carries on, and then he concludes with the narration that we had of Jabir in Sahih Muslim, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ commanded us that camels and cows have 7 shares. And we said, due to the evidence, this seems to be the more correct opinion. Next mas'ala now, is it permissible for a person to have shares in a camel or cow, more than 1, in the sense that there are 7 shares, but I'll buy half the camel and you can buy half the camel, or I'll buy 6 shares in the cow and you can have 1 share? Can we do that, or does it have to be split amongst 7 individuals? And the correct view in this, and again this is the view of the majority, and I'm talking about Abu Hanifa, Malik, Abu Hanifa, Shafi and Ahmed, because Imam Malik said you can't share cows and camels, not in Hadi anyway, not in Qurbani and the Hadi in Hajj. But when it comes to what was the masala? When it comes to cows and camels, generally speaking, you can have as many shares as you want. Next masala. What about if the intentions are different? So now you've got 7 shares. One person intends aqiqah, another person intends qurbani, another person intends walima for getting married or something like that. Is that allowed or not? Can we have different intentions while sacrificing that one animal? And again, it's the same thing. Shafi'i and Ahmad said, yeah, it's permissible, because that is your share and you can intend what you want with that share. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Abu Hanifa said, yeah, it's permissible as long as it's within family members, and Malik said no. Therefore, hopefully now this answers the question that if a person is sacrificing this Hajj and any other Hajj that follows after, and he wants to sacrifice a camel or a cow, then you got 7 shares. In that 7 shares, you can have as many shares as you want. So imagine you got a cow, and in that cow you intend one for your mother, one for your father, one for yourself, etc. That's all permissible. Imagine you can't afford a cow because they're quite expensive. Can you partner up with someone and they buy some and you buy some? Answer is yes. If you partner up with someone, can you fluctuate in your intention? The answer, inshallah, is yes. Due to the generality of what I said, this narration from Jabir in Sahih Muslim, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ told them that the cow and the camel has 7 shares, and what you do with your share becomes your share, and that is a legitimate sacrifice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to get close to Him, and that He allows us to sacrifice our wealth and our body and our health and everything for the sake of Him and this beautiful religion, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to enter into Jannah with that sacrifice being accepted. Allahu a'lam wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.